We're Marta and Ina from Keys2Success-Coaching, and we are super excited to welcome you back to the Exploring Female Leadership series, where we spotlight inspiring women who are redefining leadership with courage, authenticity, and empathy. And today I'm really honored to welcome Chloé Trevisan, a 20-year-old veteran of the tech industry who spent 17 years at Google, holding 7 roles across London and Paris, and is now the director of GTech Professional Services for Southern Europe. And Chloé has played a very big role in my personal career, because when I reported into Chloé, I was actually going through like a really big life shift, being pregnant with my first daughter. And Chloé is really the kind of manager who helps you through this transition. I remember one morning where I suffered from morning sickness and just sent Chloé like a quick text message. I was like, can you please take over leading this meeting for me? And Chloé jumped in, took it over, and just really made me feel good about myself and my situation. So I will be eternally grateful for that, Chloé. Again, she did this all while balancing the demands of her workload and her family life. So Chloé, welcome. I'm so thrilled that we have you here today.
Thank you so much, Ina, for the lovely intro. And it's my pleasure to be here. So thank you to you and Marta.
Welcome, Chloé, and thank you so much for being here. As Ina mentioned, it's super exciting. I've heard so many great things about you. So thank you so much. Chloé, you've had such an incredible journey in tech across countries, roles, and teams. To start us off, we ask every leader this question. What's one thing that really defines your leadership style?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Definitely a great question to start off with. So look, I think I would really define myself, my leadership style, as authentic leadership. Like, I lead the same way as I am in real life. Obviously, then you need to work on some specific things to make it business focused. But I think it's important to remain the same person you are in everyday life. I was tempted when I was a younger manager to shift the way I was, maybe to fit in, or to, reflect and being more like other people that I was seeing and maybe looking up to, but it doesn't work. You end up, burning yourself out in the process. So very important to stay true to yourself, authentic leadership, very empathetic also, like caring about people, about their feelings. And thank you again, Ina, for the lovely memory that, it makes me so happy you still remember it, because it's very important. And if you're like that with your people, then they will feel more at ease. And at the end of the day, everyone is more productive. So it's a win-win for the business, for the culture of the team as well. And it's a style now that I am, I'm older, if I may say, and I have more maturity in that journey that I'm actually proud to carry. And I'm not afraid to say that it's fine not to be an aggressive type of leader. And authenticity and empathy actually works.
I love that you said that, Chloé. Staying true to yourself as a leader really set the stage for everything else. And one thing that really stood out when we spoke earlier was your point that hard work is not enough. You have to advocate yourself. Can you share a moment when putting yourself forward changed the course of your career?
Yes, definitely. And, I think it's without, going into stereotypes, but it's a very female thing to actually wait for the great work to be seen. I think we've all been through this at some stage of our careers, like working hard, working well, delivering results, and thinking that there will be enough for your next step up or your next promotion. Well, newsflash, it's not enough. It's not enough. All of us, I think, have evolved into professional paths where we are surrounded by great people. Like, we are not the only ones delivering good results. And at some stage, you just need to stand out. And I think it's important, to be very forward with your leaders and your managers about the type of projects you want to drive. What are the projects that are going to give you the right visibility, that are going to allow you also to develop new skills, get you out of your comfort zone also, so that you can develop, these new expertise or new skills along the way. So being intentional about the projects that you want to work on and asking is really important. Don't wait for things to come your way, because you're going to miss on opportunities.
I love how concrete that is, Chloé. And you didn't just work hard and hoped to be noticed, right? You really made deliberate moves. And what you just said, you've mentioned being very intentional about choosing the projects that gave you visibility. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, and I think one of the important things that I learned through my career is that often you progress and you step up because others more senior are going to sponsor your work. They're going to open doors for you, but they cannot do that if they don't know your work. So I think the key learning for me in my career was, okay, pick projects that are going to give you exposure to those kind of leaders that can then advocate for you. So being intentional sometimes, maybe it's a project that is going to allow you to not develop so many new skills, but it's going to give you exposure to the right person. And or it's a win-win when you also develop new skills in the process, obviously. But being intentional about the projects, and I've asked for those, and I still do it to this day. Like very intentionally with my manager, sitting with him regularly and be like, okay, so now I'd love to get exposure to this new leader here. He or she does not know me yet. So when you see a project, where I could be useful, put me on this. And I systematically continue to do that. And it's very important. People can only advocate for yourself if they know you, and they know you via the work you're providing. And I think it's important to be intentional.
And to seek it out like proactively.
Yes.
That's such valuable piece of advice. Thank you so much. So now let's shift gears a bit, because many women describe motherhood as a challenge to their career. But you've said becoming a mom actually gave you more confidence. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it did. So first, I'm a mom of two. Justine is 15 and Raphael is 10. And I remember when I was back at work after my first maternity and just had Justine, I felt this sense of, I don't know how you would really phrase it in English, but it put things into perspective a lot for me at work, and things that would stress me out before being a mother actually stressed me less. When I came back, I had this bigger picture perspective almost on everything that made me more mature, simply. And I thought I was just more, mature at making choices, at not letting things impact me too much. And also, for those of you who are a parent, it's tough. Being a parent is tough. It's not easy. Physically, it's tiring. And then obviously you need to make the right choice for your kids. And it's not easy. So when you're able to do that, then you come back super powerful and you're like, oh, wow, I'm able to manage that. So work, it's fine. I think it's going to be a piece of cake. I'm exaggerating, obviously. No jobs are a piece of cakes, but you come back with that perspective that it's you're doing something else in your life that is fantastic, amazing, but hard, and it helps with work and confidence.
Yeah, it also gives purpose, right? There is like this new purpose in your life.
Exactly.
I love that reframing. It's not about losing momentum, but about gaining perspective.
Yes.
That's very powerful. And it also connects to something else that you've talked about, the importance of balance and protecting your time. What practice or rituals keep you grounded and allow you to sustain both leadership and family life?
Yes, it's an excellent question, because I think all of us struggle with that, and I certainly did. And to some respect, sometimes I still. But the first thing is that it's important to design your balance moments. They won't, magically appear to you in your everyday life, especially when you're a parent and you're trying also to build a career and kind of continue to step up. And so I think important things for me, and is really, first, every morning I get up half an hour before the rest of the family, so I have half an hour just for me, my tea with me, a good book or something, so that I start the day with good energy. I had time for myself, and then I can better take care of others, whether they are my kids, the family overall, and then my team when I arrive at work. So I think those moments are really important. Then, owning your calendar, super important. Don't let others do it for you. Really own your calendar, be very strict with it. It doesn't mean, suppressing things from your calendars, but choosing when you can actually do them. Then, it's not very romantic, but with my husband, we do share a calendar and it, helps us get organized. And it's really important because, when we have meetings that, are after work or even during the day, and, one of us needs to do the kids pick up. And, if you don't plan those things, then they're very stressful. So it's really important to design your planning in advance, be in control of it, and have time for yourselves. This is really important. If you can integrate, what works for me is a bit of sports during the week, like it's non-negotiable. I need those. And last but not least, my sleep. Like I need good quality sleep if I want to perform and be a good, a good mom and then a good professional. So this is non-negotiable for me to have good, decent sleep every night.
Thank you for sharing, Chloe. I love how you describe balance as something that you design, not something that just happened. That's such an empowering mindset. I really liked it.
Yeah, and also like those rituals that are such powerful reminders that sustainability is built from small intentional practices, right? And not
Completely.
grand gestures.
Yes.
Yeah. Another part of your story that really struck me, Chloe, is when you said you were sometimes the only woman in a leadership team. So I assume that must have been difficult. How did you navigate that sense of loneliness?
Yeah, and great question, because I think especially in the tech industry that still happens a lot of women. So look, it felt isolating, I'm not gonna lie, even though I had great colleagues, by the way. My male colleagues were very nice. Like, it's not a question of wrong behaviors or whatever. No, they were fine, but it's just at the end of the day, it is a little bit isolating. And so I think the way I've approached it, and still approaching it today, to be honest, because there's still part of my job where sometimes I'm the only woman in the room. It's finding those female partners in your work environment on whom you can lean in, whether it's just to quickly vent or just to seek support, seek advice, and think that perspective, and have those discussions with someone who is going to understand you profoundly. And I have those, I'm very lucky, but I have those work friends, I call them, even though at the end of the day they are real friends, but that I can turn to when I need them. And just this afternoon, like I pinged one of them, and I was like, oh, I need to see you 10 minutes, just because there's something I need a perspective on. And she jumped on the call straight away. And she's a director too. She's very busy, but she made that time for me. And this is really important, and that really helps. So have your female network. It doesn't mean to be a lot of people. I 2 or 3, and it really helps.
That's actually an amazing tip. I love having that group of people that really support you and cheer for you and are there whenever you need them, and can also easily relate to what you are going through.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think so many women can relate to the feeling of being the only one in the room. So thank you for sharing again, Chloe. Now, looking back with all that you've learned, what's one leadership lesson that you wish you've learned earlier, and what's one that you are still working on today?
Yes. Look, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but hard work alone is not gonna necessarily allow you to step up or to get to the next promotion or step up in your career. So be very intentional about who you're exposing your work to, pick your projects, and be in control a little bit of what you do is really important. Hard work alone is a great thing, but it's not enough. So I think this is something that I would give as an advice, because I wish I had known that earlier in my career, because at the end of the day, but yeah, it's just a good advice, I think. And then something that I try to continue keep in mind even those days is constantly stretch myself out of my comfort zone, because it's scary to go and do something you think you can't do, or these kind of things, but it always pays off. New learnings in the process, new expertise building. Then it's kind of pile up your confidence even more, because you're like, oh, I did something so difficult and that I didn't think I could do. So it's a win-win. We cannot lose by trying to expose ourselves outside of our comfort zone. And I'm trying to remember myself constantly of that. When I see that at some stage of my work during the year, or when I reflect about myself, I'm like, okay, I'm a bit too comfortable with what I'm doing every day. Like, I know I could do it with my eyes closed. Which new projects can I pick? Which new responsibilities could I ask my managers to give me to kind of get me out there, do something uncomfortable again? So yeah, that's how we grow.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. I agree. Pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, that's where growth comes in.
Yes.
Again, such a inspiring and powerful tip. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Being uncomfortably comfortable, or
yes, exactly.
Chloe, if you could give one tip to our audience here, what would that be?
It would be, stop wanting to be perfect on every front. I think as women, we put a lot of pressure on our shoulders to be perfect everywhere. As mothers, in our families, more widely, be loyal to your friends, be a great professional, do sports, eat well. I mean, there's a lot that we constantly kind of put on our shoulders. So, and newsflash, and I learned that hard way, it's impossible to be perfect everywhere. So, I think being good enough is already great. and cut some slack to yourself. Like if sometimes, you don't manage to be, succeeding in everything, well, that's okay. It probably means that you need a little bit to take care of yourself. So think of yourself. Don't abandon you into the, craziness of the everyday life of, a professional who has a family, or even if you don't have a family, like, just life in general can be overwhelming. So it's, I would really give that advice. It's not worth the pressure, and nobody can achieve those high standards. So take care of yourself, and being good enough is already great.
That's amazing advice. Thank you so much, Chloé.
Yeah,
you.
I mean, perfection is not about doing it all, right? It's also about focusing on what matters most to you.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely agree. Let go of the perfectionism and be kinder to yourself. I love that, Chloé. And I mean, I think we could be talking to you for a very long time, but unfortunately we have to close it. So I would love to do that with a few key reflections from your story. Your journey is such a powerful reminder that confidence often comes from perspective, not from perfection. Strategic self-advocacy is essential, not optional.
Yes.
And balance is not about doing it all. It's about protecting what matters most to you.
Well said. Thank you.
I mean, you said that. I'm just summarizing and what you said. So yeah, this is all you, Chloé. Again, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your wisdom with us. It's been a pleasure and an honor, as you can see from our excitement. And to everyone watching, Chloé's story shows that the leadership doesn't start by changing who you are. It starts by owning who you are already. The more you lead from that place, the greater the impact. So we will see you next time on Exploring Female Leadership. Until then, keep leading with courage, curiosity, and heart. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.